Hi, we're back. Sheila and I are back with another guest this time. This is Clara.
This is my cousin.
Yes. Not to say that, okay, we old, we already say our age. We wanted the Gen Z opinion on certain things.
Yes.
Right? And also because we feel that, I mean, I have a lot of Gen Z friends, but I may not exactly understand what they're actually going through.
Yes.
Right? And then Gen Z also very misunderstood lah.
Yes.
People are always hating on the Gen Z.
And I feel, I don't know, is it because I am older and I'm not from Gen Z, right? I feel like Gen Z have it tougher.
You feel so?
Although I asked her and then she said, no, not really. But I guess she has no comparison.
Yeah, right? She has no comparison.
For me, I feel that it's very tough because of whether it's social media or peer pressure. A lot of how they are, it's rather, how should I put it? They need a lot of approval from external.
No, the point is because they grew up in the age of social media and we didn't, right? For us, right, we just needed the immediate approval. Your friends say, "Ee, why your hair like that?" or whatever, right? Now it's like you post a picture, the whole world can say, "Ee, why your hair like that?"
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean,
it's like people you don't know.
Yeah, it's bullying. I mean, if there is gonna be any bullying, it will be on another level.
Yeah, and a very.
Okay, so let's talk about bullying. Have you ever gotten bullied before?
I have when I was in primary school.
So what kind?
Yeah, so they will just like talk about how I look or like make fun of how I look. But I wasn't really like affected.
Really?
Yeah, because I was just like, oh, never mind lah. They probably just like, how to say, insecure about how they look. That's why they just wanna like push someone down.
I'm so proud of her, you know.
So
proud of you, you know. When I hear that, right, I really, because
actually,
okay, can I share about your? Okay, so when Clara was born, she has one side of her ears, one side of her face is underdeveloped. So
okay.
So even her muscles are a little underdeveloped. So she has like her
one
neck,
side now.
Yeah, one side. Her neck is tight, like shorter, and then her ears are little. Can we show? Or you okay with that? You can don't show, no? Okay. So growing up, actually, I mean, I was already early 20s, I think, when she was born. So I was always worried lah, actually, for her.
So people make fun of that?
Yeah, or like the way I talk and stuff like that.
Okay, because of course it's a bit harder, like one side like a bit less developed. Oh my gosh, girl, and you were so strong. I think I would have gone home and cried like. That's
why I feel so proud. I never asked before. So actually, growing up, I have two younger cousins. She has a sister as well. And because I was older and because I'm in my industry, right? Yeah. I always tell them like learn to laugh at yourself. Do you remember that I talked to you about all these things? Okay, she don't remember. Never mind, I did my part.
Yeah.
Because mental wellness, I think it's something very important, and I always feel like, especially at that age, right? You 20-something, you want approval from other people all the time. I mean, we all went through that. I think sometimes it can be so tough, you know.
I mean, like I say, I feel like last time, without even the external factors, right? Like even in primary school, right? I feel like I was very gawky and awkward. Right? Maybe only like blossom in secondary school, and at that point, right, primary school, I felt so crappy about myself. Like you think you're very ugly, you look in the mirror, like oh, and then you have someone saying stuff about you, right? It just exacerbates the whole thing. I really think that mentally you were very tough. You were. Do you feel like there was anything, maybe Sheila's, even though you don't remember, all her like wise words of wisdom, do you think somehow, not just from her, but where do you think you got this sort of toughness from?
I guess it's like family also, and also like online, like read online about how to deal with all these like
that is so interesting
problems.
So that's an interesting thing, right? So now they have online resources. So you actually Google and find out how to deal with these things.
Like what kind of things do you Google about?
Like it's like, for example, we like look at how do I deal with like people bullying me, or how do I cope with stress, etc. Yeah.
Interesting. I guess the way they cope is also different.
So proud.
She's so proud, I can tell.
Yeah.
I can really tell. Were you ever bullied in school, Sheila?
I wouldn't say that I was bullied, but then like you, I was, you know, I mean, my body, my legs were too long for my body. I mean, we were all look a bit different. Because you're tall, right? Yeah. And then I remember now that she talked about this, when you talk about this whole looking awkward in school, I remember when I was in swim team in primary school, and then there was one time this boy said, you can see her butt floating like above the water when I was doing freestyle or breaststroke, can't remember which one. And from then on, right, I think I immediately kind of made my butt disappear in the way I look at myself. I wish that it didn't exist.
Oh,
you know?
okay. So that made you really conscious, like,
It
just
made
from
me
one
really-
comment.
Yeah, just from one comment, and I keep when I was swimming, I kept thinking like, how do I swim in a way that my butt would not float above
Oh my
water?
gosh.
From that one
Yeah.
comment, and since then, it's like, you know, there are some parts of your body that you just
Yes.
wish that you doesn't exist, and
Yes,
you wish that you would
yes,
disappear.
yes,
So
yes.
that was that moment in primary school that I wish that my butt would just disappear.
How do you feel that you got mentally strong along the way? Stronger?
For me, I would say that I'm very resilient now, and it's a very long way in the making lah. When I was young, I think my childhood was quite tough. My brother passed away when I was 9, and of course, leading to that was a lot of hospital visits, and a lot of attention was on my brother. I honestly didn't know any better when I was.
Your
that
brother is
small,
your older
right?
brother?
My older brother. He's 5 years older than me.
Okay.
So I really didn't know any better how to deal with it. I just know that for a period of time, for a long period of time, everything is about my brother. Like, you know, because he's sick, right? So everyone gives him the attention.
He had what?
He had leukemia.
Okay.
So everyone will give him the attention, and even up till today, like I'm always very curious about my childhood. I mentioned to my cousin about this quite a lot. I'm very curious about how I am like when I was young.
You don't remember?
I don't remember, and no one would remember, because everyone would just talk about, oh, but your brother did this, your brother did that, and I kind of just disappear in this family but as a
Was
child.
that hard? Do you feel?
That is.
I mean, okay, so I'm also the second child, right? And I always tell my friends who have more than one child, please, y'all need to pay some attention to the second child, right? Consciously, because I mean, of course, your brother's was extra special,
Yeah.
because he was not only the eldest, but he was sick.
Yeah.
Right. So he was sick, so he needed more attention naturally. But I think like this whole like birth order, I think I've spoken to Sheila about
Yes.
this, right? Even my parents, I don't blame them, but I understand that like my brother is just 2 years older, and they were very young parents who were struggling to make ends meet, right? There's just not enough time to give to the second child, right? And then so you kind of are left to your own devices, I guess, a lot. Right, so I mean, I don't know, for you, are you the first, second child? First child, okay, so.
But they are very close in
okay.
age. Like it's just 1 year apart.
And are you guys close to each other?
Yeah.
Do you feel that it helps to be close to your sibling, or does it give you more support in some ways?
It does, but at the same time, there's a lot of comparison.
Yeah, how do you deal with that?
For me, I don't really care about it. Because I realized like, when I'm becoming older, right, I realized that usually they like to compare about grades and stuff, but to me, grades doesn't really define anything.
Okay, wow,
Wow,
she really
you
very
really
good
very tough eh.
She's like the model. I wish that I were like that at, you're 20?
For this year.
24, wow, I
And
wish.
she's already like that before.
Yeah, wow, that's,
Way before.
that's like,
Wow.
yeah, like, okay, like your family doing something right, like I gotta say, because not everyone grows up feeling that self-assured.
Yeah.
I came from a girls' school for 10 years, and in primary school, like, okay, I wasn't ever the one bullied, because as a like someone who has a lot of friends, I was an extrovert, right? So you're kind of protected by all your friends. So usually bullies will always prey on those who have less friends. And after I start playing sports, usually if you're a sports person, you are also sort of insulated, right? But I watched like friends in school get bullied, and it was not pretty, law, I have to say.
It's very tough.
It's tough, and I have friends now also like who I see I have friends' daughters who actually get bullied in school as well, and it goes as far as into WhatsApp group chat bullying, Instagram and TikTok bullying, like the comments and stuff. People just troll them, lor. Is that normal? Do you have friends who go through stuff like that?
I don't really have friends who go through that, but there's a lot of like TikTok videos now that are made to like address these kind of issues.
Okay, so there's the good side of social media, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's not just, maybe that's where, maybe we on millennial side, there was like some ugliness, because when social media first started getting very, it started becoming big, right? Was at that point. I think now it's progressed to showing the good side of it.
Yeah, more educational.
More educational. I think any illness in the family is something not easy to deal with. So my father was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer a few years ago. It was a shock, honestly, because he looks outwardly very, very healthy. And we couldn't believe it, honestly. And so that was mentally a very, very trying time for the whole family. Like, there was a lot of doubt. I think my dad, being typical Chinese dad, not the most expressive. Like for us, we will talk about it, we will cry or whatever, but I think he was quite stoic.
Shoulder on all the...
Yeah, and then just stoically think that you deal with it, right? So The good thing is, I mean, this one, like, it has been scientifically proven that, especially for things that are long-term like cancer, if you kind of believe that you want to fight it, or that, I actually believe my dad sometimes believes he is fine.
Yeah.
And that's the way he copes with it, which is good because, I mean, the good news
Your
is
body reacts differently,
yeah,
right?
the cancer has been good so far, but you know, with cancer, you never know, and it is stage 3. But
Actually, generally in health, you never know.
you
right?
never know, right? But I have to say, what really gave us peace of mind is my parents, right? Even though they were not rich, right? They've had the foresight to buy insurance. You know, really, actually, I don't...
Unfortunately, my parents didn't.
Yeah, so if you watch our previous episode, actually Sheila did talk about the financial struggles when her brother was diagnosed with leukemia, right? I mean, it's a long-term illness, so it's a financial drain, same as cancer. And to say that one, it has been really a comfort that we haven't had to worry about money, at least. Right, and which is a good time to thank our sponsor, right, which we really do believe in this. So this series brought to you by FWD, a leading digital insurer in Singapore. Check out the life insurance products online at fwd.com.sg, including their newly launched FWD Cancer 100, which gives you every chance of recovery by covering you for treatments under the non-cancer drug list from as low as $269 per month. Okay, so I thought that was pretty appropriate.
Yes, good job.
Yes, thank you. And we're quite picky with our sponsors as well, right? So we do work with sponsors that we really feel like we believe in the product, right? And I have to say, in this one, like, as a non-believer of insurance for the longest time, right?
I can't believe you don't believe in it.
No, because I don't want to spend money, ma. Then when you earn like starting pay, right, I'm not gonna out of my like meager like entry-level salary, right? You want me to take out like a few hundred to pay for insurance, and like, money that I will never see possibly, right? But when something like my dad's cancer happened, right, honestly, it's peace of mind.
You see that it's an investment.
Yeah,
right?
it's peace of mind. And my parents are really just keeping the money to like, in case anything happens, right? And treatments are not cheap, okay? So
very expensive.
Yeah,
medical.
I mean, I think that's, you know, that's so. I mean, I think that having that sort of knowing that we don't have to worry financially gave us peace of mind.
Yeah.
But then there's also the mental part of it, like, right? So there's the dealing with all of this, like processing it. Like, for example, like after your brother's death, how do you process that? Do you feel like you processed that properly?
I really was very young to know what death was. I just felt like, okay, I'll never see this person again. But I think the after effect really only hit me when I was in my 20s.
Really?
Yeah. And then shortly after, 3 years later, my parents divorced.
Okay.
And so it was very trying time for me, which I didn't realize at that point because I was so young. I just felt like a lot of daiji, you know, just like so many things were happening all at the same time. But I'm very grateful. I mean, now I'm able to look back at it and feel like I'm able to learn a lot of things from all these episodes. With my brother's death, especially now, I feel like if there was somebody here with me, maybe I wouldn't have gone through so many relationship issues.
What do you mean somebody here with you?
But if my brother was here with me, maybe
okay.
he could have protected me from all these assholes that I used to date in the past.
I don't know about that because I got an older brother, like, we fight all the time to this
But
day.
you see, the thing is, with somebody who passed away, right, you
can-
always think of the best of him.
Of course.
Yeah. So which was very tough for me because I had a huge shoes to fill.
Yeah.
I was never good enough, I feel like I was never good enough compared to him.
Okay.
He was the funny guy, he was like the filial guy, he was like everything. And then every time even when I started to have some achievement for myself, it was always shadowed by him.
Okay.
So that was very tough. I had a lot of insecurity issues growing up. And with my parents, it didn't help the case, right? So I eventually, at 30, through many episodes of relationship failures and stuff like that, I told myself, okay, I think it's time to seek help. Also, by then I had money already, right?
To seek professional help,
To seek
yes.
professional help.
Yeah.
So at 30, that was when I went to see a therapist for the first time.
Okay.
And the only regret is that I didn't go earlier.
Really?
But then again, I believe in divine timing. I
Okay.
was ready at 30 and things were supposed to change, ready for a change then. Yeah.
I think my thoughts on professional help to do with mental wellness has really changed over the years.
That's for sure.
Really,
For us,
really.
it was such a taboo thing, right?
Yeah, it was
very
like,
paiseh to
it's
say
either
that-
there's something wrong, you kiss out, right? Or, wow, this is like a rich man's, I go and see a therapist. How very American of you, right? Right, it's quite right. It's like, I sit on the shrink's couch. It's that sort of image, right?
Correct.
Right, but then actually, honestly, right, I mean, honestly, I really want to say, if you're watching this, take it as a sign to really get help because, don't suffer in silence, right? And there are many ways and many affordable ways that you can seek help as well. I think I saw a therapist myself in my 30s after my grandmother passed away.
Oh yeah, right.
So I had to do, it was funny, it was the difference of grieving because I was old enough to know what death was.
Yeah.
And like, I dreaded, you know, even as a child, I would dread the moment, like, to think of her death. And then when it finally happened, right, I was like, oh my gosh. Of course it was terrible, but I went straight back to work on a work trip.
Oh my God.
On a 10-day work trip, like, 4 days after the death. Because I didn't want to cancel the work trip. And I thought, like, let's just get on with it, right? I just need to get on with it. It was like the worst trip ever, like, honestly.
I can only imagine.
I was like, very depressed and like, it was cold, not helping. Right? There was a lot of having to deal with all that. Then only like, it took me a few years, you know, to realize that that was not the way to deal with the grief.
Actually, you know, when I first met you, you were still grieving.
Yeah, I think so.
And that was really like so many years later.
Yeah, yeah. Because she was really like a mom to me, but I guess I felt like if you cry a lot, then also it will not bring her back. I guess that's the thinking. Right? But then now with the education, the positive psychology education, I realized like, you really need to go through and sit through the emotions. You have the crying is part of it.
Yeah.
You have to cry, you have to talk
release.
about it. Yeah, I have to release.
Reach out.
Doing that actually prolonged it. I think when I met you, I was grieving and I was like, very kisiao lor. Like crazy traveling, like feeling like there's never enough
and not
time.
sleeping. You're
I used to
sleeping.
sleep.
When I first know her, oh my God, you slept like 2 hours.
Yeah, 1-2 hours.
Every day.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
I think there was one day like my husband really looked at me and after like a few days of like, I think there were 2 days of consecutive not sleeping. Like not sleeping, going out the whole day, then go and party, then come back, then go through that. Then he's like, you're gonna kill yourself if you carry on like that. Right, so it's a bit of a wake-up call. And then that was, but looking back now, I actually think a lot of it was to do with unprocessed grief.
Yeah,
really, really unprocessed grief. So after that, I mean, I went through my own process with that. So please do seek help if you guys need. And
I actually feel like for mental wellness, sometimes it really appears, the symptoms are sometimes not so obvious. Like for example, insomnia, right? Like that was...
No, actually mine is not even insomnia. It's I didn't even want to.
You didn't even want
the
to
thought
sleep.
of lying down on a bed was like torture because then I have all my thoughts, So I just want to be going out and I'm a generally energetic person and extroverted. So when I'm with people, I got a lot of energy, right? So the thought of like just lying down was like a nightmare, right? So I think that's one way it showed up for me.
Yeah. So different people experience grief or depression or pain in many ways. So it's sometimes talking to a friend, it helps, reaching out helps.
Yeah.
But reaching out helps to a certain extent only.
Yeah.
I feel like because your friends are always there to protect you and to make you feel like good about yourself.
Yeah.
So they don't give you what the professional will tell you objectively, which is why if ever you are in doubt and you feel like you need to see, you're not sure if you need to see, just go and see one. Because if you're even just thinking about it for a second, right, just get it diagnosed or confirmed. I mean, not diagnosed is not the right word. To just see somebody professionally to have a peace of mind.
Actually, even before that, I think what Clara did is also not a bad idea to at least start researching it, thinking about it, right? That like the way you're acting up, there could be other reasons for it, basically, and how to cope. I think that's very cool that nowadays there are a lot of online resources.
Can I check, right, for your generation, like how open are your friends to seeking therapy, seeking help from a counselor or professional help?
And saying I seek help.
I think it's pretty open because even in primary school we have like counselors in school.
But if you go and see one, then what would your friends, how would they respond?
Usually nobody really says that they go to see a counselor.
Still, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
But primary school is very young lah. What about now? Like maybe in secondary school or...
Now we don't really judge if people actually seek help. We just like try to understand them a bit more and see like how
it's
we
the
can
beauty of the
help
Gen
them.
Z, you know.
Yeah. So awesome.
Yeah, now we are like, how come we born in the millennial generation? Why our peers like this?
No, I'm happy to be born a millennial. Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, so you guys, if you guys are struggling with mental health, please do seek help. Whether it's to check it out online, talking to a friend, or best if you can seek professional help. And like I said, if you are watching this episode, maybe this is your sign to really, really seek help. We want to thank FWD for sponsoring us and for bringing this episode to you. If you want to check out more on insurance products as well, check out fwd.com.sg. Thank you, Clara, for being with us. See you guys again in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.